Hello, this is Mator, and today I'm going to be showing you how to set up a custom game type on Halo Combat Evolved or Custom Edition. It's very simple for stunts or trick jumping, whichever suits your fancy. So from the main menu, you go to Multiplayer and then Edit Game Types. From here, you'll be taken to a menu. I already have an example game type here. I'm just going to delete it. And this menu shows all of your custom game types and all of the standard game types. If you select a game type and then choose Create New, the new game type will use the settings of that game type. I'm going to assume for now that you obviously don't have any game types. That's why you're watching this video. So I'll create a new game type from the Slayer game type. I'll then type in example, because this is an example game type, and we're taken here to the game type creation menu. So you have all these different options: game options, player options, item options, vehicle options, indicator options, and team play options. We'll start at game options. So here you can choose the type of game. For stunts, you usually want to use Oddball because with the Oddball game type, you can set a trait to players who have or don't have the ball, and one of those traits is damage resistance, which is very useful if you don't want to die. So you go to this, you're here, you select Oddball, and you're at this menu now. You have these options. Trait without ball, if you click on the arrow to the left, it'll go to damage resistant. Trait without ball, damage resistant. Now, what damage resistance is it means that you can take half as much damage from any damage source. So if you're damaging yourself or other players are damaging you, it effectively gives you twice as much health as you normally have, or shield. Speed without ball will just make that normal ball type. I like it at Juggernaut. You can do whatever you want there. Minutes or points to win, 15, just in case you are like on a multiplayer server and there are other people there and you don't want them to end the game. If you make it 15, at least it would take a little while. Team play, yes, because team play is good for a reason I'll explain in a little bit. Now, player options. Maximum health 400%, shields yes, all of this is pretty standard. Suicide penalty none. Yeah, so 400% health, so you start the game with 4 times as much health and shield strength as you normally do. That combined with damage resistance effectively gives you 800% health. So that's a lot of health. It means you can survive just about anything. Anyways, we now go to item options, and you want to have infinite grenades on. I like to use a generic starting equipment just because, I don't know, but you can also do custom. It doesn't really matter all that much. It will slightly affect what you start with. Weapon set. If you're doing trick jumps, you probably want to just stick with a normal weapon set so you can have your pistol for unaided jumps, and because you're going to have bottomless clip anyways, ammo isn't really an issue. But if you are doing stunts or you aren't going to use bottomless clip, you will want to have heavy weapons for your weapon set. If you just won't have access to certain weapons then, but there will be lots of rocket launchers and fuel rods everywhere for you to use. So this is up to you. I actually have a game type with normal weapons and a game type with heavy weapons, so you can do that as well. It's really whatever you want. I'll just do heavy weapons for now. Vehicle options. You want to set the respawn time to never. And then you have two sides here, red team and blue team, because you have team play enabled. So it'll be at default, and this looks like it's spawning 4 of every vehicle, but you actually get more vehicles if you set it to custom 4 of everything. So I like to do that, and you can do the same thing on red team and blue team. And there you go. Indicator options, this doesn't really matter. I like to have friend indicators off because they're annoying if you see them in footage. A green triangle in like the middle of the wall, and you're just like, I wonder who that is. Anyways, so yeah, friend indicators off. Team play options, you want friendly fire off, and you want to make sure auto team balance is no. This will make it so your teammates do not damage you. Players cannot be hurt by the weapons and explosives fired by their teammates, which is nice. And auto team balance being off means that players will be free to change teams as they wish. You won't have to have an equal number of people on each team, so you can have everyone on red team or everyone on blue team, which is important for friendly fire being off. Anyways, that's the gist of a basic stunts or trick jumping game type. So now that that's set, we're going to go back and we're going to create a LAN game. From the top here, it starts at standard for select game type. If you click on the left arrow, it'll go to the custom list, and here you can find your game type. If you first created it, your game type will be at the bottom of the list, but afterwards, when you next start Halo, it'll be sorted in the list alphabetically. Anyways, here we go. Let's just start the game. And here we are. So you can see I started with heavy weapons, a rocket launcher. If it was a custom weapon starting set, I would start with a fuel rod. But here we are, and we have lots of vehicles. As you can see, on Blood Gulch, we have 2 tanks, I believe 10 Warthog, or 2 tanks at each base, 5 Warthogs, because there's one by the portal, 4 Ghosts, and a Banshee. And so you multiply that by 2, you have 2 Banshees, 10 Warthogs, 6 tanks, because there's another tank over there, and 8 Ghosts. So that's a lot of vehicles, and there's even more vehicles on some other maps like Death Island. Anyways, I'm going to quickly demonstrate shield strength now. So because we have 800% health, a frag grenade will take out a fifth of our shield. So it takes 5 frag grenades to completely take out my shields. This is 4, 5. There you go. A plasma grenade will take out your entire shield still, but as far as health, it pretty much only takes out 1 health bar. I'll demonstrate that real quick. It actually takes out 2 health bars. But anyways, so you can see it makes you pretty darn powerful, and you can take quite a bit of damage. You can survive 2 grenades, you can survive a full plasma frag rocket, and even more, possibly, depending on how your stack is set up and what order the explosions actually detonate. So, yeah, that's the gist of it. This is the basic game type. There are a few slight modifications you can make, so I'm going to show you those real quick. So we're going to go back here, edit game types. Here's our example game type. So we're going to create a new game type using that one's settings. We're just going to call it example 2. We're still going to have oddball. You can see all the settings are copied over, which is very nice. What you might want to do is make a respawn game type. This is if you want to do respawn launches by putting a vehicle over another spawn point. I like to use 30 seconds. That's a little bit fast for some people. You can do 60 seconds as well. So this would be respawn game type. So I mean, that's a whole game type right there. I mean, you can create as many as you want. There's not really any limit except for your hard drive space. But these game types are extremely tiny, so that's not even really a realistic limit. So we can create another one. Tanks. So on certain maps, Gephyrophobia and Infinity, tanks don't spawn by default. And in order to get them to spawn, you have to actually set your game options to race. And this all looks fine to me. And then you gotta disable all vehicles except for scorpions, and you can also have warthogs if you want, or you can just do tanks. I'm gonna have both warthogs and scorpion tanks, and you do that for both teams. And this will make it so whenever a player joins the game, it'll spawn either a warthog or a tank. And if you want to just spawn tanks, then you can disable warthogs. But anyways, this is how you get hogs and tanks on a map like Infinity or Gephyrophobia, which normally doesn't have them. Yeah, that's the gist of most of the game types that you need. There's still, of course, NW stands for normal weapons, so normal weapons game type. But I mean, that's pretty much the only game types that you will need, per se. I have a few more. You can see here I have a game type with no vehicles, nav point on an oddball if I want to measure distances, pistols for bumping, speed bonus with the juggernaut, yeah, and then I have a few other ones. I have a CTF game type if I want to do something with a flag, but you can do whatever you want, really. You probably don't need as many game types as I have. Yeah, that's the gist of it. I hope you found this video helpful, and best of luck to you on your tricking and trick jumping endeavors. See ya.